Hey everybody, my name is Jo and I love to read. Today is going to be my November and December reading wrap up. I haven't actually finished any of the books that I'm going to talk about. My reading has still been crazy this couple of months. This last year has just been so different for me reading, but I will talk about the books first and then give a life update after it. The first book I want to talk about is Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. Oh, I've actually taken bookmark out. That might have been Miles that took that out. 2/3 or something like that. I didn't get up to when the romance happens. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm actually going to finish this book. I have gotten bored of it. I've been reading this book for the romance, and considering it's taken such a long time for any romance to happen and it still hasn't happened yet, I am just bored, plain and simple. I don't think this is going to be the book for me, or possibly even the series for me. The fantasy elements, although some of it is interesting, I really like that there are different creatures. That creepy lady in the hut in the forest, that was horrifying, no doubt, but fascinating. So there are moments that I'm interested, but there's also parts where a lot of it I'm just not interested at all. I couldn't care less about the Hyberian King and his plans, and I just don't think I'm gonna finish it, sadly. I really wanted to love it, I really did, and I still have a folder on my Instagram saved called Akatar, and I love the reels that people make in relation to this series, but at this point it's just taken too long and I'm not interested in the fantasy stuff, so I think I'd be able to find a different book that with romance that would interest me more than this one. The next book that I'm talking about is a non-fiction, The Dinosaur Hunters by Deborah Cadbury. This one I've successfully kept my bookmark in. I'm up to this point. I'm still really enjoying this one-ish. I still intend to finish it, but it is a bit heavier. I'm really interested in the topic. The book itself doesn't feel boring, but it does feel dense. It can be quite difficult to read a paragraph, and for whatever reason that doesn't mean boring for me, but it does take a bit to read and it can put me in a bit of a slump if I'm not careful, so I'm hoping to pick this book up again at some stage. I don't know exactly when, but I am gonna continue this when it's the right time. I also tried to read The Poppy War. I literally got like this far into it to page 4. Got my little bookmark. I don't know what to do with this one again. I feel like all these books I'm just gonna keep for a while, and then when I'm going through my shelves again I might get rid of them or not. I was so excited to read The Poppy War for years. I've had this book for years, and I started reading it when I was not enjoying other books and thought, oh well, maybe this will grip me, and it just didn't. Actually I read one page and the start of another and that's it. And it just wasn't gripping me. Am I turning into a person that if the first page doesn't grip me then I'll DNF it? I don't know, because that's not a lot of time to grip someone. But I just have had no desire to pick this book up at all, and it... Okay, I'll do a little bit of spoiler for my life update. I'm pregnant again, which is very exciting. At the time of filming this, I'm 13 weeks, but I will put up text whenever this is getting edited, whether I'm still pregnant or the baby's been born. I don't know when this is going to come up, but there was actually a period, pretty much the whole first trimester, which is like the first 12 weeks, where I did not want to read at all. Reading actually felt yuck to me, which is so bizarre. I never experienced this with Miles. Some of my other symptoms were exactly the same with Miles, but with this pregnancy I just did not want to read. Not just reading specifically, it was any hobby that took a lot of concentration. I did not want to do it. I basically just wanted to sleep and watch TV, and also TV that I'd seen before. But I wanted to talk about it in relation to this book because before I kind of discovered that I just needed to have a break from reading, I tried to read this book. I'm gonna keep it for now and hopefully pick it up and enjoy it again, because I was really excited for this series, but I don't know at this point, and it really surprised me because I thought this was going to be the book that I was going to read and love, and it's amazing, but I'm kind of going through a bit of a downturn in fantasy at the moment, says the woman who's also super excited because today's the release day for Onyx Storm. I have been tempted to go to Big W and purchase a copy, but I've got one coming in the mail, so So I'm really excited for that, and that's fantasy, so I don't know. I really don't understand the rules right now, but I'm just trying to go with the flow. So sadly, not so much for the Poppy War. I think Onyx Storm as well, it's partially the hype, and that's like mainly what got me to read so far into the ACOTAR series is the hype. The next book that I want to talk about is The Amour of Light by Ken Follett. This is the 5th book in the Kingsbridge series, or more commonly known as the Pillars of the Earth series. It is the first book that I picked up towards the end of the first trimester when I was feeling okay to be reading again. It was enjoyable at the start, but also right now I'm just utterly bored. I feel like I could be finished with the characters right now because too much has been neatly tied up. And I was thinking a lot about this because with Ken Follett, I've only ever read his Kingsbridge series, and the first 2 books I loved, and the last couple have just been not enjoyable. The one previous to this one was a little bit more enjoyable, but still not as good as the first 2. With this one, I was able to identify at what point the story changed, and therefore my interest level changed, which is quite sad with this because it's been a week or so now, and I've stopped reading at a point where there are still little conflicts going on, but on the whole, the main gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching things have been tied up and we haven't moved on to any super serious stuff yet. To be honest, I don't know if I'm actually going to be finishing this one either, which kind of makes me sad, but the more I read of Ken Follett, the more I'm just... He's got talent and he can write clearly, but he loses it sometimes with what happens to his characters. He has the ability to make me just so care about his characters and really want them to succeed. And then he also has the ability for me to just utterly not care and to be bored with them. This one was a bit of an impulse buy, The Creeper by Marguerite Hickey. It is a crime thriller. I was on my lunch break or about to go on my lunch break and just really felt like a crime thriller. And so I've had a sort of, well, I've had one luck and one not by going to whichever town, the bookstore that I'm in, picking up a crime thriller. Generally it's based in Australia, which this is, and I'm enjoying the characterizations of the main character. I find her interesting and the depictions of the town that they're living in, the Australian setting, but the plot hasn't gripped me yet. This book as well helped me to identify what I need to be reading right now, and a lot of my life update does play into my reading right now. If there is not a constant question, I say question because in the past characters and settings could hold my attention, but right now I need to have something that just makes me think about the book all the time. I want to know what's going to happen, and I'm finding it a lot rarer to find in books these days. I don't know why. Do I just need a change? I'm also suspecting again it's a bit because my life is a lot busier right now and I just might need to be reading some different types of books, which then brings me to what I'm currently reading right now, which is non-fiction, and it's called Burned Alive by Soad. I've looked up a couple of different pronunciations of her name and there's a couple of different ones. This is a non-fiction memoir about a woman that was living in Palestine in the mid-80s, and she's grown up in this really oppressive Arab culture and ends up having sex and getting pregnant before wedlock, and is then is it called subjected to? Shocking true story of one woman's escape from an honour killing. In their culture, it's to protect the honour of their family, so to murder the woman who in their family who they think has done something dishonourable. She's covered in petrol, set on fire by her brother-in-law and just left to die. And she ends up getting helped by other women in her village and then by a European aid worker who then transports her to France where she now lives. So I'm finding really interesting. I have started to get a tiny bit bored because we've basically spent the first 50 pages of the book describing what her life is like in Palestine, which I'm finding interesting. Through research on the internet and what she said, as far as I can tell with my research, it is Palestine. I'm not 100% sure because she doesn't actually state in her book like this is this country that I was in, but I had a bit of a Google. I'm not the best with geography, so just putting that out there in case anybody wants to correct me with that. If anybody knows better, for these 54 pages described what it's like to be a woman living in this culture, and she lives in one of the smaller villages. She does talk about how they go to the city once and they actually see women walking around, unmarried women walking around with more freedoms than what she's been offered, but they live in a village that nothing has changed in hundreds of years. So that has all been really, really interesting, horrific, but interesting. But I'm at the point now where I feel really terrible saying this because this is someone's life, but I'm at the point as a reader where I need things to move forward a bit. And it's only been 50 pages. So again, this speaks to what it's been like for me as a reader. And so now we'll divulge a little bit into the life update, which I've already obviously started talking about as well. But this year has been so crazy for reading. It has been so different. It's the result of having been through this stressful, exhausting situation for a long time now. So grateful to be a parent. So happy that we have Miles, and obviously happy to, well, not obviously, but we were trying for another baby. This is a planned baby. This is our last baby. All thankful for all of that. But it is stressful being a parent to young children. Even though things are easier now because he's 2.5, they're still quite difficult. And because we've been sustaining this really stressful pace for a more exhausting pace for a long time, I think my body and my brain is just gone like nuts. Whenever I relax now, it has to be super relaxing, in that I've either got to be doing something that requires less thoughts, which is either watching TV. Unfortunately, it's watching reels a lot. I do not like that, so I would like to put in some steps to try and change that. I would rather just watch a TV show and hopefully relax properly that way. I don't know whether the amount of reels that I'm watching as well is also affecting my attention span with reading. Possibly it is. I'm not sure. I'm either having to just watch, like do something that does not need my brain too much, or it's got to be super interesting if it is using my brain. It's really difficult right now to be reading anything that starts to get slow because I'm just like, I'm so bored. I'm curious to see how it goes with a second baby. I'm less scared about the baby itself because I know now how to look after a baby, even though they're all very different. But it's the transitioning to 2 children that will both possibly want to play with me. Hopefully they'll want to play with each other at some stage, but they'll probably argue as well. We'll try and foster that sibling relationship as much as we can, but it will be very interesting to see how it goes, especially when the baby is quite young and can't play, because I want to still as well try and spend a lot of time with Miles and have some one-on-one time so that he doesn't feel like you're not important anymore now that we have a new baby, which is less free time for me. So we shall see. It'll be interesting, but I might be reading some more non-fiction memoirs. Some of those can be slow too, but some of them can just be like, oh my god, this is crazy. Thanks so much if you guys made it to the end of this video or watched any part of the video, but if you're seeing this part, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for checking out my channel again. I hope you guys had a really great New Year's. What has life been like for you guys? How did your year end up? How is it starting? If you don't know what to comment, but you just want to comment something, then can you put in an animal emoji? Thanks so much, guys. I'll talk to you guys in another video at some stage. Bye!